Jack, welcome to the show. It's such a pleasure to have you on for episode one here. I know today's going to be a great conversation, and you're joining us from your new place out in NYC, right?
Yes, sir. I'm joining from a call booth in New York. You're joining from the beach in San Diego. Like it, a little different, but
No, not bad, man. Well, let me give folks a quick introduction here, so that we can do you justice. So, Jack Adler, founder CEO of Out to Win. You started the company at age 21, your junior year at Syracuse. Literally picking yourselves up, bootstrapping it, throwing a suit on, and then going out to local businesses and sponsors to get them to work with athletes. And since then, you've worked with the likes of Reebok, Crocs, Oakley, and then have built this incredible network through what seems like, and we can get more into the personal side of it in a little bit. It sounds like it started really with like your personal network from summer camp and some of these other different remote places. And you've since grown it today, like I said, into Out to Win. You guys just raised 1.3 million from 15 individual investors, basically to rebuild the Q score, which is the celebrity marketability metric that's run advertising since really 1963. So I'm very curious to get more into how you're doing it with athletes today. And now you're selling into Syracuse, South Carolina, Michigan State, and the San Diego states of the world, which is incredible. And I've been fortunate enough to really have started my business relatively around the same time, maybe just a bit after, but have benefited greatly from being able to watch you do your thing. And just first and foremost, proud because I know how difficult it is, as somebody that is trying to get into sports and entertainment for the first time. But it's a pleasure to sit down with you, man. I'm really excited for this conversation.
yeah, I really appreciate the whole background context, and it also brings me down memory lane a bit. And I feel the same way. Like we've been through this journey. It feels like side by side, just building at the same time through the same type of timeline. Being young entrepreneurs, it's been like inspiring just to like a lot of people come in, come out, and I feel like you and I have been constants in the space, and just like being able to learn from each other and grow together has been super cool. And this, uh, I guess like conversation's been a long time coming.
Yeah, yeah, hard to kill, man. It's a good quality. It's a good
Yeah,
quality. But
yeah, no, it's honestly very true.
for those that don't know what you do, how would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, I actually think like on the note of hard to kill, like in this age more than ever, like a line that we embody is adapt or die. Like what I'll say in what we do today is different from what I would have said a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and so on. Uh, Entering the space in 2021, I joined not necessarily to like to just go out and make deals happen in the NIL space. I joined to identify problems and build solutions for them. And like over time being in the market, I've just learned more and more. I've identified patterns and gone out and built solutions to solve uh, problems that I feel like had a relatively large enough market size uh, that was worthwhile building a solution around. Right now, our main focus, like the one liner that I like to say to just make it as simple as possible, is we help brands build influencer marketing campaigns with athletes. Yeah, I can get a whole lot more into the weeds on that, but we help brands, use talent as an asset to go reach their target demographic and convert them into buyers.
Awesome, awesome. And then that's a great description. And primarily, you got started in the NIL space, correct?
Primarily got started in the NIL space, and I kind of had this hypothesis from the beginning that is starting to become more and more true that NIL is, I mean, it's this umbrella phrase used for college athletics, but like it goes way beyond. The tailwinds of NIL have now led to more influencer content in just the general sports creator space, as well as even now in the pro space. And we haven't limited ourselves to just college. We've operated within really the broader landscape of the sports creator economy.
Incredible, incredible. I was actually going to ask if you could briefly describe NIL for those that don't know it. It obviously refers to name, image, and likeness, which the House passed, I believe, in 2021, allowing
Hmm.
based college athletes to be paid for their marketability essentially. But you tapped on something there. Did you say the creator economy?
of sports. Yeah,
Okay.
and
Got it. Got it.
and
Got it.
that's
I was
and that's really how we view the NIL space, at least in what it's transformed. Because it almost didn't exist before NIL. I mean, of course, it existed, but not anywhere near the level it does today.
Yeah, so in regards to this athlete creator economy that you guys have really, I think, contributed a lot to carving out to, um, what do you see today that everybody doesn't in that space?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's bigger than a lot of people realize today, but it's also only growing. Um, I see a generational shift occurring beyond the athlete creator economy, just in the way like society operates, where so much attention is outsized on social media, and there's a shift in advertising occurring from kind of like traditional linear over to social media and digital. And in this world where there's a lot of money pouring into sports marketing, naturally there's going to be this, and there's already starting to be this influx of brands getting involved in the creator economy of sports as a way to go better optimize their reach to digital audiences.
Yeah, what for for brands, because I agree with you that there's been this seismic shift, it seems, over the last few years of more and more businesses spending with athletes. What is the real opportunity as it lies today? You've said in there, I think that brands are realizing they can reach their target demographics that seem to be a much more niched down version of what it used to be. But if that is sort of the general sentiment, and most folks are aware of that, and that brings people to the conversation or in the table, where's kind of the deeper underlying opportunity in this space lie in your opinion now?
Yeah, I honestly, the side of the space that I've been getting more and more focused into is how athletes can be used as assets in paid media, because brands are investing more and more into digital marketing, and a lot of that is through meta ads. Today it's becoming more through like TikTok shop and other creative ways to just engage with audiences where they are, which like today like they're on social media. A lot of the audiences that brands are have historically been aiming to reach, um, and you can create an ad asset that goes and reaches an individual on social media, uh, and that asset can include, say, like a um, an actor, uh, or in this age of influencer marketing, the evolving creator economy, it can include like a recognizable figure, uh, that has like a name, image, and likeness that is recognizable enough to like pretty much pick up the recognition of that ad asset, or even beyond that, like going into the long tail of the 500,000 college athletes who aren't all necessarily recognizable. You can leverage the credibility of one with the background of being an active athlete to go build the credibility and the organic nature of the ad asset, so that it's even like coming directly from the athlete's account as opposed to from your business account, in a way that just screams advertisement off the bat.
Jack, you're speaking my language, man. Are you familiar with a concept known as Andromeda? Have you heard of Andromeda?
I've not.
Okay. This is like a media buyer's nightmare over the past few months. We've definitely run into it a lot, face first, unfortunately. It is exactly what you're getting to, which is that there is an incredible need for new faces constantly in these meta ad campaigns. Like Meta is only rewarding diversity and realism at this point, and I kind of
Hmm.
want to tap into that for brands that are spending with you for the first time. Have any ever dabbled in like the AI UGC creator space or using AI generated people in ads? Like to me, it is just getting ridiculously out of control and sort of
Yeah.
weird. And I gotta imagine that's going to be a tailwind for you guys.
It's definitely something I've been seeing more and more. Honestly, I feel like we're at like the very early innings of it. Uh, and I feel like we're at such the early innings that it almost hasn't become prevalent in conversations. It's something people are thinking about, but not everyone is taking swings at yet, because I think there's like worry around it. What I think is interesting is honestly how the two could potentially intersect. One of like the downfalls of athlete marketing at times is the busy schedules, and sometimes even just like a line that I hear on my day to day is like, well, athletes aren't great content creators, so I'm worried to to partner up with them for influencer campaigns. One, I have my pushbacks to that, but two, uh, if AI can be used to take an athlete's name, image, and likeness and generate strong content without needing them to actually go out and create it themselves, it you know can help strengthen the pitch around why athletes as an ad asset can become more and more valuable.
What can brands do today? What can people do today that want to work with athletes but have this headache or notion in the back of their mind that they're difficult to work with from a creative standpoint? What can they do to get over that bump?
Yeah, I mean that is like, uh, without making this a sales pitch, that is a lot of what we do in our day to day as an offering is like we help take a brand's activation budget and we've built. I mean, we're experts in this space because we've just done it. We've seen what works, we've seen what doesn't, and we've now built the internal systems to help streamline going from end to end of building out an athlete marketing campaign. So as opposed to kind of trying to do it the first time, inevitably, running into roadblocks left and right, you can outsource that budget to Out to Win, and we have our own internal systems and AI backed workflows that will take your campaign from end to end, to where it's like magic. You can enter your activation budget, your campaign parameters, and our team goes and executes it on your behalf. That's the nature of where our business is today, uh, and we've evolved in that direction from realizing the answer to that question, what can a brand do today? Uh, is like you're going to have to go through lots of failure and lots of trial and error to get to a place where you can feel confident running athlete partnerships. But a lot of brands don't have time to go through that process and they're going to give up realistically. So we're pretty much just building a solution to try and honestly increase the retention within the athlete and general influencer marketing space.
Got it. Got it. Got it. No, that's very fascinating, and I appreciate the further context on what you guys are doing there. It's very cool to see how you guys have kind of continued to marry this hybrid between technology, but also the in person and activation side of things. Sticking with what brands should be doing, what is one thing that most athletic directors are getting wrong about NIL today, in your opinion?
It's honestly the alignment between uh, like NIL and brand marketing is just off. Uh, Athletic directors, but really just athletic departments are, you know, looking to retain a roster, recruit a roster, and that's like why they're recruiting brands to come in and invest in their talent. And when you have an alumni of a school who's passionate about the team, you can convince them on that pitch of like, help us get the best quarterback, help us get the best point guard. But the reality is that's not going to pitch most brands on investing their budget. Uh, and I have been pretty much pitching this thesis that athletic departments need to build out an arm of their organization that operates as an influencer marketing agency. At the very least, a marketing agency that is pitching their athletes as media assets, in the way that their MMR partners are pitching their stadium assets, and that's why I was excited for this conversation, is because I know you do a lot of work on the property side, and like athletes are a property that can be sold in the full stack of these MMR solutions now. And I'm really interested to just see how that continues to evolve with players like Learfield and Playfly integrating NIL into the full stack of multimedia rights that they're selling.
It's extremely fascinating. I'm totally taking the veil off of an idea that we've had for quite some time. And by we, I don't, I would say my small circle of me and my friends. This is not a business idea. This will not be showing up on the doorstep of our customers' emails anytime soon. Uh, but I've been playing with this idea of your chief distribution officer for quite some time. And I want to spend some time now talking about it because what you're basically describing to me, and I'm in total alignment with, for the most part, is that these athletic directors are operating more like GMs, which is fantastic. But you have both supply and the demand side of the market. Um, if you spend all your time building the supply side, you never quite build the demand and understanding the distribution that happens through that. Um, do you think, one of the bigger opportunities slash positions in this ecosystem over the next few years is going to be that chief distribution officer or some sort of service or component that understands, hey, based upon your roster, based upon the target audience you have, here's all the avenues that we have both an organic and a paid setting to reach those people?
It has to be, but from the conversations I've had, I worry about if they understand this space enough to create a role like that. And I only say that because uh, there is a lot of hesitancy and pushback in where the space is headed. And instead of going down that path, a lot of schools are instead trying to find loopholes to get money in the door without needing to go through brand marketing dollars. I just think that's inevitable. The chief distribution officer, great, great way to put it. It's like it's a role that these schools need, and like I feel mean saying this, but I feel like they aren't like smart enough and forward thinking enough to realize at times that that is what they need within their athletic departments to be able to capitalize on the existing opportunity and build a competitive program.
Yeah, I don't think it's rude. I don't think it's rude by any means. Intelligent wise, these people are plenty of intelligent. It's really the system. When the system that has brought you up systemically changes over a 2 to 3 year time frame at the speed of light, you don't have the ability to react the way the next generation that's seeing this play out is going to be able to come in, which is so fascinating from the private equity side of things when you think about, these truly, let's just call it extremely effective business practices and individuals that know how to execute those practices will be coming into the door and how that's going to shift things up. But you did say one thing in there that I really want to tap into, right? You said, the majority of these folks just don't understand. What what is a good data point or something that you come back to, relatively often, or it's just on top of your head right now, living in there, possibly rent free, that kind of sets the picture for why these athletic departments and folks that are running, these athlete rosters need to sort of wake up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that of course running the athlete rosters, like you need to have dollars flowing in to be able to afford a competitive roster in today's age. But I think on an even larger scale than running rosters, it's running this organization that is an athletic department as a revenue generating organization. You need to lean into the distribution channels of your talent because that's what fans emotionally associate with. You asked like a data point that catches my eye, and I'm forgetting. I wish I had the exact stat on my top of my head, but it's it's just that fans are discovering teams, sports leagues, not by the actual whether it's the TV channel, it being on the TV channel, but by being the distribution through social media, through clips, highlights, through player content. That is where teams are growing their fan base. So as just an organization that wants to grow in a revenue generating capacity, like that is where you need to be thinking, how can we grow the brand and distribution arm of this organization? And I think not a lot, or not enough at least, of athletic departments are thinking that way yet.
Yeah, no, that it's almost the second screen experience has just completely
Yeah,
changed roughly in the past even 3 to 4 years. And it's not just NIL, right? It's the fact that now folks are discovering sports instead of, watching the NFL and then a commercial comes up for something. They're on their iPhone at the same time, seeing
exactly.
that new thing in feed. Um, so that's extremely fascinating, man. Well,
It is.
shifting gears a little bit more to the maybe the personal side and the business side for you guys specifically at Out to Win. For where you guys have gotten to today, and where you're at. Again, I've been fortunate enough to see kind of all the pivots and great moves that you guys have made. If everything were to go wrong for you guys today, what's the one thing for you personally that you want to accomplish? Like, what's the one thing it's like, man, if we don't get this thing right, because I think that's in the back of every founder's head is you kind of have that one underlying thing that's like the thing that nobody wants to ask you about, but you're really trying to accomplish. What is that for you?
Dang, yeah, that's a like a deep question that I feel like it's something that that naturally like lives with me on a day-to-day basis, but like deep in the subconscious almost. Um, I just feel like so much of building Out to Win as like a brand has been like less about sports marketing and more about just like the nature of entrepreneurship. And going back to the very first line of the podcast of like be hard to be killed, uh, like that is what I want to be remembered by as an entrepreneur and what I want Out to Win to be known for just within the space of like adapting and and again building solutions to existing and big time problems. So I would say like for Out to Win, like the main thing that, and like I don't know if this necessarily answers your question to the full extent, but like just this whole notion of adapt or die is like what I want Out to Win to be known for, and that's like what runs through my head almost every day. Like I said, on a subconscious basis as I'm making decisions. Uh, I don't want to lose by being stubborn. I want to lose because uh, we've innovated to our absolute full extent to continue pushing in this case the sports and athlete marketing space forward. But like I said before, like I almost think of it on an even larger scale of just entrepreneurship, setting an example for other entrepreneurs in their other categories, just to show kind of like that this is what it takes to build a company in the long term.
Have you ever lost something by being stubborn?
I definitely think we've had like opportunities that I've said no to because I thought that there was short term gain there, but I thought it could lose our long term focus. Um, I mean, this is like it's like a funny like quick story. In like the third week of launching Out to Win in 2021, when I was a sophomore, junior in college, we were offered an acquisition. Like an agency tried to like acqui-hire us to have us go come build their NIL division under their agency, and they offered us some cash. And me and my partner at the time were like, that sounds sick, but like we want to build on our terms. We're so early. We still see so much upside to go and like instantly go under another company would limit the long term potential of what we can build here. And like looking back at that, I can't even imagine the path I could have, who knows where I would have ended up, but like the path we would have gone down if a few weeks into Out to Win it ceased to exist because we ended up just building the NIL division for another existing agency.
What a crazy story. 3 weeks in and 3 years later, it's interesting to look back on. Um,
It's almost
yeah.
5 years later now too, which is the crazy thing.
So point is, man, you have been tough to kill, and now you're even
Hmm.
tougher to kill with 1.3 million in the bank. How have you guys used the funding so far?
Yeah, so that fundraise was actually over a year ago now. So it was in March of 2025. Uh, I strategically raised the round to almost be at like a point where it would only give us 12 months of runway because I knew that we had so much to learn still that I didn't want to raise on milestones that were too far out. Interestingly and honestly excitingly, like we've extended that runway to where I thought I would be fundraising again towards the end of 2025. We saw strong growth through the rest of the year. uh, I kind of went about fundraising almost in like a worst case scenario perspective when thinking about budgeting. Like if the company hits the fan and we are tanking in revenue, this money can get us to X point in time. So with that said, while we extended our runway, we extended our worst case scenario runway. Um, but it's allowed us now to get uh, into like the 18 to 21 month runway position, and just allow ourselves to continue reinvesting in what we're building. And I think that a lot of the fundraising landscape too, like I'm glad with the way that I fundraised for a different reason than why I initially did it, but the way that AI has changed the way businesses can be built, I think has changed a lot of the way that companies need to fundraise. Uh, and now has completely altered the way I'm thinking about our funding roadmap and just our uh, org design and the way that I'm looking at scaling the business going forward, just with how much can be optimized through AI backed workflows.
That makes a ton of sense. You don't have to answer this question. It's always fun though when you talk to a founder, and I have mine. You know, that initial 1.3 that you raised, what was the worst thing you've spent that money on so far and the best thing?
Well, next week we're taking a team offsite to Punta Cana. Hopefully that's so. Hopefully that's the best thing
Oh,
we spend it on.
I'd
I
say
I
so.
actually I actually through research decided that it was the most cost efficient investment for an offsite because it's an all inclusive resort that we'll be at. So like we'll have food and drink and everything included in like this overall tab versus going somewhere where we're just where we're not capped in how much we're spending. Um,
Yeah,
but
that would be bad.
uh, I do actually like really believe in like expenses like that for team culture buildings type of stuff. But like when thinking about the maybe the least in like quantitative ROI positive investments, it's probably team dinners and offsites. But I actually think that like if there were a way to attribute it to ROI, that it would be net positive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's one. Congratulations and have fun. You guys deserve it.
Thank you.
Enjoy yourselves there. I can't imagine the stories you'll bring back from that. The I maybe a little bit of me looking too much into things, but there's something that you said there around not being able to calculate the ROI of a spend like that. We are, you called it out. We are in a tech arms race at the moment. If you pay any attention, I pay way too much attention to equities and the stock market, and so I'm very much ingrained in what software companies are doing, what data companies are doing, and AI, and how this is all panning out. I'm also quite aware now, being able to sit on the family office side of things that I get to do now, seeing deal flow, regularly and pretty often. And I can't tell you how many college sports related tech platforms still make it across my desk. And it
Hmm.
isn't a knock to anyone that's doing these things, but they really have become these like glamored up chat GPT wrappers. And
Hmm.
they're just selling garbage to the industry. And I think it makes it a lot more difficult for folks that do have good intentions to stick it out. What is something that out to win? What is something that you guys are doing specifically right now that has nothing to do with the technology that you have to give people a more hospitable experience, right? We
Yeah.
talk a lot about Unreasonable Hospitality, which is a fantastic book I recommend everyone read in the year 2026 with how AI is coming up. But what is something that you're doing right now that isn't scalable that you think is
Yeah.
going to allow you guys to win in the long term?
I actually love that question and like direction of discussion because it's so prevalent right now and I mean, over the last couple of years, the pivot that we made Out to Win was switching from an agency to technology because we felt like it made us more scalable, more investable, and uh, honestly, like more defensible against others in the space. And in today's age, it feels like there's no defensibility behind technology. You can build proprietary solutions, but like anyone can build anything today. It feels like more than ever before. And the true moat is like it feels like the tables are turning to where the true moat is becoming things that are not scalable. It's becoming like effective communication and relationship building. It's becoming uh, expertise and honestly like service and hospitality. Like you said, it's things that you can't necessarily. I don't know. You can't build through AI and through tech necessarily. Um, we a part of our business is actually like working with the athlete to create the content that will perform on social media, and that involves production, it involves like actual shoot days, it involves editing. It's a side of the business that we've recently integrated to take more control over the output of the content that's created, um, and it's not scalable, I'll tell you that. Like setting up shoot days and writing out scripts and handling the post production. I'm sure that there are ways that it can become more scalable as we continue building the systems behind it, but it's just it's taking on the services and hospitality uh, to actually like take the heavy lifting off the brands and take it on ourselves. That I actually think in the long run is what's going to allow us to build a better business, because as opposed to providing tools, we're now delivering outcomes. And in this day and age of AI, I think that the SaaS space is becoming a lot is going to have to start depending a lot more on uh, services oriented businesses.
Mm. Jack, I am in the process at the moment of negotiating a very fun new personal deal. My first brand deal. I actually should tell you this here.
Nice,
My first brand deal with Melon. These guys right here. I love
nice.
Melon, and it's not because I'm bald, by the way. A lot of people ask me this. I'm not. Like I know I like my hats. I should get Melon to make a hat that says "Delivering outcomes, not tools." Gosh, if these people aren't just a bunch of tools, 99% of what you see out there. It's just like great. You've learned how to use Claude Code. I'm very proud of you.
Hmm.
You're not delivering that outcome. I love the way that you're thinking about it there. There's this concept I'm sort of playing with right now within our business. The best way I can describe it is enterprise headhunting. And I have this theory that I think the best businesses really over the last 40 years and that'll continue to grow are just enterprise headhunters. I'm not
Hmm.
going to name their names, but I have two, maybe three gentlemen in my friendship network space right now. All they do every day is just connect people. Like they're just, they get on an email thread, they say, hey, you should talk to this person, you should talk to this person. And boy, if there's not a lot of business that gets done just doing that. And I think it becomes a little bit difficult when those individuals try to, again, monetize every single one of those relationships. But I think to your point, a good business at the end of the day is looking at the current customers that they have, right? It is looking at the bare minimum of like, what do we have today? And how do these two continue to feed off of each other? I think the thing that a lot of people are forgetting in the tech space right now, especially in sports and entertainment, is that the software itself is not what made this business, worth tens of millions of dollars and made it sellable and scalable. It's the network effect that happened. It's the fact that
Yes.
if you join it, therein you are now benefiting from the collective strength of this organism. Not so
Hmm.
much another tool to see another trending post from an athlete. Like no
Yeah.
one, you know.
I will say though, because I thought it was interesting how you said so many different solutions are coming across your desk on the family office side, and whether that be college sports, I'm sure it extends even beyond that. It's just like there's more. The barrier to entry is lower than ever to build tools, but and it's hard not to get almost like intimidated as a founder, because they know how to post content and make it sound like they're winning and growing. And you know, as a founder, I feel like you almost feel the need to be paranoid sometimes and like make sure you're looking left and right to not like get snuck up on. Uh, and it's natural to start feeling like others are gaining speed. I do just think that that's why in this new era the moat is relationship building and effective communication because at the end of the day, when you're building tools, those tools can only be as good as the user of them. And that's honestly something we struggled with in building a SaaS business is our the success of our business started becoming dependent on how well these brand marketers could use our platform. And I talked before about, you know, like how it just takes time to be ready to build effective athlete marketing campaigns. And that's why we've evolved in this way to take on a more services oriented approach because we've just realized that that's like the future of successful businesses is built delivering outcomes, not building or delivering outcomes on top of the tools that you've built.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. Generally speaking, software is never finished, right? It's one of those things that there's just constant iteration. And
Hmm.
to your point earlier on being hard to kill, 99% of founders kill themselves. I know it's a very morbid
Hmm.
line, but not literally. But a lot of times, you know, businesses end when you say we're
Yeah.
done, right?
Yep.
And I think about if you're just constantly iterating on something, like if every time you build something and then you hand it to your mom and dad and then they smash it and hand it back to you, that is a little bit of the relationship between founder and customer
Yeah.
on technology side of things. And so you have to find some sort of like North Star and something meaningful that gets you across like the relationships that you're talking about. So um,
I just think too many founders have a lack of patience. But I also do think that there's a hard thing about runway in the real world because everyone, you know, needs to uh, everyone everyone needs to make money to live. But when you know you and I when we're in college, there's this like extended runway to kind of figure things out that I feel like it's really hard to have in this real world when you haven't like taken swings and misses yet. Like the swings and misses that I took throughout college, where I felt like I had like a big pillow under me to fall onto and comfortably fail. That's what has set me up for everything I'm doing right now. I don't think I'd be able to come right out of college and start a business definitely not successfully because there's just so much learning that's required that you can only learn through the actual experience of going through it.
I agree. I agree. If you were starting a business in college all over again today, where would you begin?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like the place where I began in my junior year of college, and really even before I started the business, is the same place where I begin again, networking my ass off, talking to as many people as I can, and just screaming my idea out to the world when you're in college, like everyone just wants to help you. It's like this. I honestly think like as a founder, like a lot of people want to help you too, and I'm always so grateful for that. But in college, more than anything, like people just want to help you. So the first thing that I did, it's almost like a way of practicing your pitch too, is I just went and reached out to Syracuse alumni, people from my hometown. Like you said, like you saw that I like leveraged like the network from my camp and other communities from growing up and just screen my idea out into the world. And I feel like that was the best way to get started because it started letting people know what we were building, got people involved and invested in the story in the journey. And I think that's how I would do it again if I were to go back in time.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. Well, we're getting towards the end here. I have a couple fun little questions that I'm just curious about. So, if you were, if you were to rank the following, brand categories from best ROI, or let's just call it best athlete marketing campaign ROI to least by the category, what would be the best or worst? And give you an example, you have like QSR, quick serve restaurants, food and beverage, automotive, apparel, financial services, what tends to work the best across those categories with athletes and creator led marketing?
Yeah, I would say number one is CPG, like food and beverage style brands, because like when it's handheld and when it's easy to like give an organic review on camera, and then it's also like a low ticket item to buy. Like it's, just to throw out an example, like if I see an athlete drinking an Olipop and it looks like it tastes good, they have a positive review on it. It's like a few bucks to go buy in a convenience store. Um, I put that at the top because I just think that it's a low lift, low cost of acquisition, and highly scalable. Uh, and then like to just jump to like the bottom and kind of the opposite of the totem pole is like automotive. I think it's really tough, like the car space, because uh, it's just a long sales cycle and it's a high ticket expense. But we see so much of it in the space because I feel like these like car companies are just trying to like find ways to engage with local communities. I'm not, I got nothing against it. I love it, but I just think it's probably the calculations probably don't add up too well in terms of return on investment. Uh, and then I'd say back to the top after beverage, I'd probably put apparel next for similar reasons. Um, apparel is cool because, well, apparel is interesting in today's age with licensing. And this is like I don't want to go too much on a side tangent, but I have to bring this up with you. Like I'm so fascinated by the landscape of collegiate licensing today because you have these like athletic sponsors, um, but you also have uh, licensees of schools who can place a logo on something they're selling, but don't have to pay the bill to be a Learfield or Playfly athletic sponsor. And I think that's a massive advantage for beverage and apparel brands uh, to be able to leverage if they do it properly. And it's an interesting like dilemma for collegiate athletics programs. Sorry for that tangent.
No, not at all. I think that's great. A lot of folks don't know these things, so it's
Yeah,
so important for them to understand.
yeah,
And the thing that kills me with these automotive dealerships is you get like the football player and the running back in his Lamborghini or something, or his brand new Chevy Tahoe or something, and it's like you think Gen Z can afford those things? You think we're even
that's
close?
yeah. The
Man, we
math
can't even
does not
afford
math.
rent. Yeah, no, we can't. We're trying to get rent, man. This guy's trying to sell me a Chevy Tahoe. Like, you want me to live out of it? You
Yeah.
know? Maybe that would be actually really cool idea for Chevy is like get some athlete that was homeless that is suddenly like now making it in the college space. And I think there's like a cool story around, and I'm not telling Chevy to go market themselves like you could live out of a Tahoe, but I think there's some interesting, maybe an interesting idea for some of these automotive brands is like find athletes that have been homeless and then ask them what car that they were in, like what did they live out of, and then like there's an interesting story to have there. I don't know.
I mean, it would definitely capture attention, I'll tell you that much.
It's black sheep. It's black sheep marketing, right? You have to
Yeah,
have some
yeah.
sort of standout within all that. Um, okay, what's one pivot you're predicting in the next 24 months in this space no one's talking about yet?
I think uh the chief distribution officer. I'm gonna jump on Dom's bandwagon. I think that college athletics programs are inevitably going to become more focused in how they can market themselves, and how they can market their athletes. And I wouldn't say that nobody's on top of it, but I am pretty shocked at how little it's being talked about. Right now, we're in like a phase where schools are just trying to find loopholes still around the Deloitte system, around ways that they can still funnel money into their athletes. But I think uh, there's going to come a time when they have to kind of just realize like the way to do this is going to be by uh, generating building fruitful relationships with brands that provide a return on investment and value, and build them into recurring partners that want to invest in working with your athlete and your organization.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. What what's one question I haven't asked you?
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I see what you're asking. I guess we talked about the modernized Q score a little bit at the beginning, but one thing I was actually thinking about coming in this conversation is like the new era we live in, like Q score aside, from like just how celebrities interact with the world, in a way where it's more about pushing product. Like the Q score was all about like how recognizable you are and how likable you are, and this new age of like influencer marketing and the creator economy is more about like how actionable is your audience and how well can you get them to actually like go purchase a product. And I think that like evolution in how celebrities are viewed is just become like a really interesting, it's the future of advertising that has kind of like made that shift into what it is, but it's an interesting dynamic.
Is that a good thing for society? Like genuinely, like if we are looking at these athletes and everyone as product pushers, I think of it this way. You have an athlete and then you have a standard deviation curve around their influence. Olivia,
Hmm.
Olivia Dunn, for example, a Tom Brady, Shaquille O'Neal, right? These are people that I know that I've suddenly seen like a drastic spike in the amount of stuff that they push. Maybe not Livy Dunn,
Hmm.
but the other two for sure.
Well, I would put Livy
How,
Dunn in that category too.
yeah,
Um,
how far, how much room does your audience give you before they're like, dude, shut up, stop pushing
yeah,
stuff? How far,
I
I
just
don't know.
I just think that if there's enough organic content built into it, then it's hard to oversaturate because people are so chronically online and just consuming content all day long that you kind of like forget and move on. Um, but I also do think it's really interesting, just the types of brands that are sponsoring the types of athletes and the data behind that. Like comparing Livy Dunn to like to Alex Earl, two influencers who have the same amount of followers on Instagram and are a similar like aged female. Livy Dunn's recent brand deals are with a sports betting company and a beer a beer company, Miller Lite, I think. Uh, on Alex Earl's side, it's all kind of like beauty products and I don't know, like it's interesting to look at the different ways that their audience interacts with the influencer and then what type of sponsorships they're then building out within their portfolio based on that audience demographic that follows and loves their content. I'm fascinated by that as well, and obviously that's a lot of what our platform does is just informs the decision making behind pretty much like who the right fit is based on the audience that they reach.
Creator product market fit. It's a lot of
Yeah,
that. Right? It's like
yeah.
and I do agree with you. There is this, I call it the, it's like the Logan Paul entropy effect is how I think about it in my head.
Hmm.
Sometimes if you hit someone over the head every single day, they eventually forget how you hit them the day before, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
So that's very, very fascinating. Um, all right, man. I want to get you back at some point here, and I was thinking about this. I'm like, I could have some sort of fun tradition, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's like we're like, oh, we'll leave a question for the next guest or whatever. What's a message you want to leave for yourself right now, and we'll kickstart the next conversation we have with this. So make sure that you do it. But
Dang.
what would that be?
What do you think the time horizon here is that we're thinking? Just so I can.
I wish I could help you. I'm not a genie in a bottle. But I intend on being around alive, hopefully for at least a few more years at the minimum. So let's hopefully get another conversation on the books before then. Um, Maybe later on this year, who knows? But what's one thing that's just top of mind for you?
Okay, so I feel like the theme of this conversation has been adapt or die, and it's all started with like be hard to be killed. Like I love that as a theme for my life and like the way I want to live. And the question I'd love to ask myself a few years from now is like, what are the favorite pivots you've made over the past time span since the last episode?
Sure. How have you changed?
Yeah, and whether that be business or even personal, like I believe in adapt or die as an individual too. Like I just moved to New York City kind of on a whim. I was like, I think this is just the best place to be to build the business at this point in time and to grow personally. If you asked me 365 days ago, I'd say I'm in Philly till the wheels fall off. But I like to make moves based on what I learn and try to stay open minded.
Jack, always a pleasure, man. Thanks. Really
This
appreciate
was
it.
fun, dude. Really appreciate you having me. This was awesome.
Awesome, man. That was